Hi guys, and welcome to today's pretty special video, if I may say so. Today we are at Atomic. You know this guy from my earlier videos, Oleg. And if you have seen my previous videos, you probably know, hey, this looks a bit differently. Yes, they moved to a different place, so it looks a bit, well, messy.
No, don't do this. Don't do this.
He's gonna break my phone. Yeah, but no, on a serious note, today we're gonna tell you how you can upgrade a Nissan GT-R to make it track ready. In short, Nissan GT-R was introduced in 2008 and after that has won many hearts of all the petrol heads all around the world, and nowadays it becomes more or less affordable. You can get the car roughly from 40,000 euros. It's still of course a lot of money, but it's less than it was during the introductory price. And of course, after a decade, there's a lot of tuning parts available. And like Oleg briefly explained to me, the main problem of this car is actually how easy it is to upgrade it, how tune it, how you can add like 1000 horsepower as if it's nothing, more or less, in comparison to different cars. And when you take a lot of horsepower on a track, at some point you need to stop that horsepower. And that's where a lot of people make a mistake and they forget to upgrade important components. And they get off the track with smoking brakes, smoking gearbox, smoking everything, smoking head, steam coming out of their ears. And eventually they need to maybe even rebuild the gearbox, and who knows, and that's gonna cost a lot of money. And what we have here is a set of basic, more advanced and even more advanced upgrades that you can put on your car and increase the performance and most importantly the longevity, the lifetime of your car in general, and the components for not too much money. So today we're going to talk about those upgrades, which we more or less divided into first braking, 2 the cooling of the whole car, and 3 the comfort of the driver and some additional systems. Now, okay, where are we going to start, Oleg?
We should start from a brake. The main problem of a car, as Misha mentioned, it's how easy you can get like 700 horsepower from a car and how heavy it is. So when you want to drive on a track with this car, you will find out what standard brakes is not enough, definitely. And then you need to decide. So we want to explain you what's the difference between different brake pads and brake discs. So from a basic, let me explain. When you want to have street legal, completely legal brake pads, this is your maximum level. This is Ferodo DS2000, and this is one and only performance brake pad which have certified for the road. All other brakes is race use brakes. Most
importantly for our German audience, this you can put in a car and police can stop you and you can say, well, look at my papers, it's certified.
It's completely legal and you have no problem with this. All other products have no TUV or ABE, but they mainly focus it for racetrack. And for this car is necessary to have bulletproof brakes to drive, especially Nordschleife. So for that, this is a basic setup. When you want to make 1 or 2 laps, maybe 3, and this is it, you can use it and you have no problem.
What's the estimate cost of that?
It's around from 200 to 300 euros, so it's pretty cheap. Next one is a Hawk. This one is a racing pad. The price is nearly similar, but this much more aggressive and producing much more stopping power. The next level, it's a PFC. This is some special brake manufacturer because it's an official Porsche supplier. So for now, all Porsche Cup which is running over racetracks, they equip it with PFC brake pads and brake discs and other parts of the system like calipers. This one is 0.8, so it's endurance compound. So when you want to use your car, like let's say in a season on a racetrack, from our experience, this pad on GT-R will live for 1 season, no problem.
Yeah, for example, also when we have the 24-hour race of Nürburgring, teams run 1 set of brake pads easily for full 24 hours. Can we maybe like open up and see the difference in thickness?
You will not see any difference with thickness because you limit it from a brake system. And also you cannot see really big difference from a brake pads, how it look. But you will see This, for example, it's not a GTR, it's a Porsche set, but it's look the same, just the shape is different. This is the endurance pad, and it's around, I believe, 600 euros, something like this.
But again, it might be 3 times more expensive than a base set, but it lives probably like 20 times longer or even more.
So when you don't do some crazy things with your brakes, like stopping immediately after a long hard session and do not cool your brakes when any brakes will be broken. So when you cool down your brakes, this will work a lot. This one is a next level. Basically, it's a high-end pads. For now, it's the most expensive, so it's more than 1,000 euro per set. But this and this pads, teams use in 24 hours, and they don't change it. So the racing team, for example, on some Aston Martin or Bentley or Nismo, can use one set of a pad for 24-hour race, and it will work. And definitely what you can feel, it's something strange, but different from a weight. So this is, I don't know, 3, yeah?
Yeah, probably 3 kilograms or something. I almost dropped it, yeah, no, seriously.
And this one is around 7.
Yeah. I think it was a bit more than that. Well, maybe one set is 7 because...
It's pretty heavy.
So that's regarding brake packs between 200 and 1,000 euro. So you can be already done. Okay, moving on to another very important component, the brake lines and the brake fluid.
So main difference, a standard brake lines is made from rubber hoses. This one is a Teflon hose, which is not changing dimension under pressure. So you can constant volume of fluid in your brake system, and the size of the hoses is not changing, so you have
the same feel in your pedal.
Yeah, your pedal is really stable.
Because if that would be rubber, it could expand, and then your pedal obviously
go down.
Yeah, go down. We're not going to explain how a hydraulic brake system works. This is something you can go like to engineering explain to YouTube channel. But basically, this is very important and relatively cheap, but actually very, very safe upgrade. It's not only for performance, it's for your safety.
So this one is around 150 to 200 euro. Brake fluid is, I believe, around 20 euro for a bottle to 30 euro. It's just more high temperature fluid, so it's it's made for working on a higher temperature than your standard fluid. Another part of a brake system, which is basically the main difference between this car brake system and that car brake system, or that, is a brake cooling. So Nissan GTR don't have any brake fluid, any brake cooling from factory, except Nismo. So Nismo is only one focused on a track model. Basically, it's a carbon part which is really light, because this is component which is involved in unspringed masses. So it's around 70 grams for one part.
This I can definitely lift with one finger, unlike this one.
It's just an aerodynamic part which made more volume of air which is come to the brakes. Yeah, this one is a forefront. This is mounted on a trailing arm on a rear suspension and deliver the air to a rear brake. It's even more important than front, because on GTR you have a really complicated traction control system which work mainly with rear brake. So when you start to drive on a racetrack, and when you started from the beginning, you definitely will overload rear brake before the front, because your traction control will work all the time. When you go full throttle and spin the tire, traction control will break. So the rear brake must be cooled properly, and this part is responsible for that.
Yeah, I can absolutely confirm that, because we, for example, have a GT86 which was built together with Atomic, and we have brake upgrade on it, and actually the car goes with the full brakes pads the whole season on the front, but the rear we have to change at least once and sometimes twice because of the traction control kicking in. So it's actually a common problem in multiple cars, not only for GTR of you, but GTR is a bit more because it has more horsepower that you need to deal with.
Next part is the brake discs. On GTR it's never will be cheap, sorry guys. Sorry, it is like it is, because you can use only proper solution for that. Our line is begin from Alcon. This is a ring which you can mount on a standard bell of your brake discs. All spare parts is included. It's really important, because all this part is can be used only one time.
Yeah.
So you can tie it with bolts or nuts or everything only one time. So you should have it all the time. When you brake, discs will be changed. This is a basic part, is around 500 euro or something like this. It's much better than standard, but it's standard size.
390 or 380?
It's 380 from MK1 model and 390 from MK2 to MK5.
Short story, if people ask why would you replace brake discs, they prevent cracks, the upgraded material.
Yeah. So standard discs, they made mainly for the road use. And on a track, the lifetime will be short for them.
Yeah.
They will die, I don't know, after the 10 laps maybe.
Oh, wow, even that quick.
Yeah.
Next level.
Next level is a performance friction upgrade for front brakes. It's really a special part because it's something new in brake technology. It's not really every day someone will make something new in this technology. So this construction and that construction on GTR, it's 30-year-old and nothing has changed. But PFC find out how to change it. So they change the construction. So you cannot see any bolts and nuts and anything here, only the spring. So this is a metal spring which hold the ring and a bell together. And it's springed, so you have no noises from a brake discs.
Oh, wow.
And in same time, it's floating, you know?
Floating disc, yeah.
Yeah. So construction is perfectly, it's really light. Not so light.
Yeah, but...
Not so light,
Not
but
so.
for this size is really light. So this is 405 millimeter brake upgrade, which work with standard caliper.
Yeah, so 15 or 25 millimeter larger than the stock one, depending on the... And this means bigger surface for bigger cooling and also bigger surface that you can, that the brake pads can grip.
And you can see the size of ventilation. It's really big. So channel is really huge.
Yeah, wow. What's the price for this, roughly?
It's around 700 to 800 per disc. This is basically enough for everyone.
I like how actually with brake pads, also with brake discs, you pay less than twice for more than twice of performance.
Yeah. Our story is what we can do with the engine and transmission to cool it down. Because GTR is a really heavy car, it's a really powerful car. And it was one of the first car with a robotic gearbox. So it's double clutch gearbox inside. This is transaxle. So rear differential and the gearbox is positioned somewhere here on a rear axle. And it has some issues, like all cars which is from early times with a robotic gearbox. So it's Evo 10 and GTR. You have not enough cooling for the gearbox.
Because another issue is that it's one cooling system. It's connected together to the engine cooling system.
So basically what they done, they try to save the money and they connect the oil system from a gearbox with cooling system of the engine. So all load from a gearbox cooling is on the radiator. And yeah, this is a problem. So gearbox is normally 100 degree on a racetrack, but it's easily can reach 130 degree when it's definitely a huge problem. And this one should be solved on every car, or you will get a big problem and this budget will come up like to 10-20,000 euro.
To replace a gearbox.
Yeah, to replace a gearbox, but also you can break the engine. What we do, and we put another radiator on the car. So in front of GTR you have two radiators, the main and the oil for the engine. And this side is closed. So we position another radiator here and open this. And this radiator connected to a unit and connected to a gearbox. So we take out the load from radiator and made gearbox more cold. When you have below 100 degrees of a gearbox temperature, you can be safe with your gearbox. It will not broken. If you reach 120, it's already in a risk level. And also main problem, what's the next part of a gearbox, it's a fuel tank. And you can imagine what's going on with fuel when your gearbox is 130 degrees. So your fuel is boiling. when you have like 20 liter on a gas tank and you reach 55 to 60 degree of a fuel, of temperature of fuel, it starts boiling and your engine can be broken. So when we working with cooling of a gearbox, we're basically solving the main problem of this car.
But this is actually even my favorite part.
Yeah, this is really smart part. It's cheap, it's something like 50 euro or 40 euro. And this is just air scoop, which mounted on the bottom of the car. And it's deliver additional air to the rear differential, because the gearbox is combined with differential in one unit, and the differential, of course, is limited slip, so it's produced a lot of heat. It's producing tons of heat and have no cooling system at all. So it's all heat's transferred to the gearbox. So it's another story, and yeah, this is really cheap and really smart part from Datsun Motorsport, which solve mainly this problem.
Then moving on to different cooling, also thermostats.
Yeah, before you start to change your radiators and other stuff, our advice to you to change thermostat for the engine oil and engine cooling system. Both of them reducing the opening temperature around 20 degrees. So what does it mean? It means your oil radiator will start working not more than at 100 degrees. It will start working around 80 degrees. So your oil will be much cooler.
And what's the price of these?
It's around 100 euro, 150 euro. So it's really cost efficient. Another important part for the cooling and for your engine, for reliability of your car, is oil. So situation is easy. Normally, car manufacturer recommend, for example, for Nissan, use 030, 0W30. What does it mean? It's really thin oil, like a water, to make your consumption is really low, to make ecology stuff happy and other things. But on a racetrack, this oil don't make any good protection of your engine, because it's just too thin. And for temperature, which is normally on a racetrack, like 100+ degree, you should have another oil which is producing enough protection for your engine. So for example, we mainly use 5W50 from Redline, because this oil have wide range of temperature which you can use. You can use it in winter, but also you can use it on a track when it's plus 30 degree on outside, and when your engine oil can reach like 140 degree, it will still protect your engine. So this is it. Another important part is a power steering fluid, not regular ATF oil, which normally every people use in power steering. It's oil for automatic gearbox, but also it can be used on hydraulic power steering. But when you use special oil, you avoid the boiling of your power steering, because particularly in this car, your power steering have no cooling at all. So when you rev your engine on really high RPM, at least 5 minutes, your fluid in power steering is start boiling, and you will have some pretty uncomfortable situation when your steering wheel start stucking in one position and clicking, especially when you change the turn left to turn right or something like that.
For example, when you're in the carousel at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, so to avoid this situation, they use this oil, which is just don't producing the bubbles, don't boiling. And this is it, it's easy. It's more stable on high temperature.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really popular in drifter community because they steer a lot, and it's help. It's the first thing which you need to use when your power steering fluid start boiling.
Then this very fun thing, actually.
Yeah. This is what we built in-house. It's a small bug which fixes really funny issue with this car. So when you want to drive your car with a race tire, or basically with another tire, and change your wheels, the car have tire pressure monitor system, which you cannot switch off. When you drive on tires without sensors, in some turn you will have red light on your dashboard, and scary beeping, and yeah, it's look like terrible things.
Because it says low pressure.
Low pressure and other messages, and
But you're gonna think low engine oil pressure or something, but not the tire pressure.
yeah, so sometimes it looks really scary. What we done, we did research with CAN bus of the car, and we producing this small unit which can be connected in a CAN bus, and you can switch on and off your tire pressure monitor system. So let's say you come for the track to racing, you change the tires, switch off one button, and you can switch off the system. Race with your car with no messages, no problem, and then change the wheels back and switch it again on, and have your system when you drive on the street, which is really good.
I had the same issue, and there is still the same issue, for example, with M2, which is massive pain in the ass, because when you enter the track with like lower tire temperatures before you warm up the tires, and it starts beeping already, oh no, tire pressure too low, you're not gonna have performance mode, it's gonna be in limp mode, chill out. But actually you are on a correct temperature, it's just probably a bit lower than it is from the street. So this is actually a great upgrade. What's the price of this?
Yeah, it's around 100 with something euros, so it's...
That's great. For 100 euros to save you this amount of headache, give me one for each wheel, but this comes for
Yeah, I think it's cost definitely the same price like one tire pressure sensor.
Okay, now we're moving on to the driver comfort modes, and actually later on even more impressive and more demanding mods. But before that, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, like, share. Let us know in the comments which car we should make a video about next. Maybe a GTR, and I mean different GTR, the AMG GTR, maybe a Porsche, maybe something like a Renault Megane, maybe a Subaru Impreza, one of the older types. Let us know. And also, when you come to the Nürburgring to Atomic, you can buy everything on their web shop. They deliver worldwide. And if you come here, we can also make sure that it gets installed. And us, Apex, we can provide you instruction, hotel accommodation. Just hit us up in the comments. But now, moving on to the next part.
Driver comfort. So when you want to drive on Nordschleife, or even more when you want to drive on a GP track, you will feel uncomfortable because your body is not fixed in the car, so you're sliding all the time around with your steering wheel. So it's really not comfortable, and you cannot concentrate on the driving.
And you're losing lots of power in your arms because you're holding onto the steering wheel. And
so because you hold on the steering wheel,
yeah,
you hold your body, you don't hold the steering wheel, you don't steer. In Germany, you can use only one model of belts on a street legal road.
with a press button.
Yeah, you must have the press button.
Yes. For people who ask themselves why, I asked myself that question, and people have replied it has to do in case you have an accident and the emergency personnel needs to reach you, or any other type of person, and the racing harnesses are usually with a twist button, and a non-car enthusiast, let's call it that way, gonna see that and like, how can I operate this? Is it like, but with a press button, it just says press, you press it, and it just like disengages like a common system. So that's why it is like that, and why this is road legal.
Yeah, but this belt is definitely something special because it's really high-end stuff. This is a short ASM belt. So one belt you can see this model. It have left and right side. So one belt is the left side, one belt is the right side. Why? Because if someone have an accident with this belt, this stuff is come out. So when your belt start to be longer.
That's very smart. That's very, very, it's the first time I pay attention to that. That's very good.
The side belt is only 2-inch. It's really light, and it's positioned directly like here, you know. And when you have here 3-inch, it's definitely will be bended or will disturbing you all the time. And this one not. So it's really good thing. And also it have FIA certification, so you can use it on a racetrack, and you can even use it on a race. Lightweight construction, it's best you can have.
Yeah.
This is it.
And obviously you can get a different type of bucket seat, like a pole position, and then you can even use the 6-point.
When you upgrade your car with a Recaro pole position, let's say, or other race seat, you can have options to upgrade this belt system to the 6-point belt.
So So the system comes already with a 6-point, but it gives you the option if you can use it or not. And the question is, why would you need that? Is because during races with high impact, there have been cases of so-called submarining, diving in, that people go underneath the belts and, well, die, unfortunately.
You can see we have no other belts on the table because this one for the street car, which can be used on the road and on the racetrack, this is one and only option, and yeah, it's perfect.
Okay, moving on to the, how you said, stuff for the astronauts.
yeah.
Space engineering.
Carbon fiber discs, but not the regular carbon fiber which you can see like ceramic brakes on Mercedes or BMW from factory. This one is a truly racing product from a Brembo, which made directly for GTR. It's producing tons of braking power, but also it's really light. So you improve your steering much more when braking with these discs.
Because you reduce the rotational mass.
Yeah, unspringed mass, rotational mass.
You told me that the stock one is, for example, 16 kilograms, and this is around 7.
Yeah.
So
9 to 10 kilo from a side, from a corner. It's really impossible to do with any other stuff what you can use in a car. You must pay attention that this type of brake discs, you need to use special brake pads which compatible with carbon discs. It's produced mostly from Paget or from Endless.
What's the price for comparison?
Oh, it's crazy. So when you want to use road Brembo system for your car, the price will be 12,000 euro plus VAT for all four. When you want to have a race type of brakes, it will be 12,000 for the front. Oh. So it's twice.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy money, but this is a race product.
Like we said, the astronomical space engineering program is, so yeah, if you really want to take it to the next level. Moving on to some familiar names, if you're into car tuning.
These two products is a tool for programming your GTR. So what you can do with your GTR, you can upgrade software on engine, you can upgrade software on transmission, you can build up the racing traction control, and you can change the logic of four-wheel drive ECU. So in the end, this car is so flexible, you can do whatever you want. You can build your own GTR, which will shift when you want, how you want, which will have wet condition traction control mode, snow condition traction control mode, which will do whatever you want. Flaming, the fire from a backside, anything.
And you can do it as well.
Yeah, we do it.
So people can come here and you can modify some parameters of the car.
Yeah. We can do it, but we're doing only our project car. So when we build it from scratch and we know what we're doing, because it's often a situation when someone built the car, made some modification, and customer come and say, okay, can you properly tune my car? And then it can be difficult because I don't know what was made exactly with the car, and the customer also cannot know it properly. Yeah. So it's some kind of difficult situation. Next story is about the gearbox. When you want to drive your car on Grand Prix track, like Nürburg or let's say Hockenheim, even worse, the gearbox will produce tons of heat. And in that case, you need to first of all change the oil to oil which build up for the racing, made for the racing, and can hold more temperature and be much more stable under the higher temperature. So when you use it on a street car, you need to pay attention to warm up your gearbox a little bit more than standard.
Because viscosity is different.
Yeah. Viscosity is different, but it's much more stable. Next thing is oil sump. So standard oil sump is just thin piece of metal which pressed down, and yeah.
That's it.
That's it. This part is billet. It have additional cooling, and also it's really rigid. So when you can imagine the gearboxes have form like a bell. Mm-hmm. And on the bottom you have this oil sump from a sheet of metal. It's no editing any rigid or reinforcement of the case. This one will add
reinforcement and cooling.
Yep. Next one is the anti-surge plate. It's also for the gearbox. When you don't have this, you can have a problem when the oil will come on one side and the filter will take air, not the oil. So the pressure inside the gearbox will be not stable and gearbox will miss shifting.
Okay, because gearbox works with weights and oil, and that's how it needs to be done. Okay, very impressive. And then moving on to the final part, which has nothing to do with cooling or driver comfort or braking, or unless you're adding more drag, it's actually aerodynamics. And this is something very interesting because you don't have to put massive wing, which costs thousands of euros. It's actually just a simple gurney flap that you add on a stock GTR wing, because this is a stock wing, and then you can just click this on it.
Yeah, this is a base model, base upgrade of your aerodynamic, which is really necessary on Nürburgring when you drive it a lot of more than 150 kilometers per hour. This one will add downforce to your rear end of the car. It's worked perfectly and have no issues with police or other things. So like a basic upgrade is really cool, and cost is around 500 euros, something like this. So it's at least twice cheaper than any other.
Then the other wing that could be, first of all, illegal or more expensive. Well, that was pretty much it. We have not covered the engine upgrade mods because they're endless, and on top of that also the suspension mods, because it's also a very long story, but we can do that. And on top of that we can again cover lots of other cars. So let us know if you have, for example, Renault Megane or E36, which is also a very popular ring tool, and we will make a special video on essential upgrades to make you safe and enjoy your car longer and eventually spend less money on maintenance. Let us know that. On top, again, subscribe, like, share. By the way, this is your first time on this channel, recently we made a video where we explained what you need to do to a car to prepare it basically for a track season. Which important things you need to check before you're taking out on a track, and especially if it's an older type of car, which we can find at the end of this video. Well, thank you very much, Oleg, and see you next time when maybe we're gonna take a car out on the track, or actually make a video again on any type of car that you're gonna ask us. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.